Welcome everyone who is joining us. This is our webinar, Email Marketing for Authors. It's the first time we're holding this session. I hope it's not the last time because I think this is a really great session. We have a lot of authors in MailerLite. We always have. I think authors have been one of our target audiences for a while. We just have a lot of great resources for authors. And I feel like in general, MailerLite is a great resource for them. So this workshop is to explain how it's a great resource, how our authors are using it for themselves. That's why we have Ivy Hunt and Danika Bloom. I'm very happy to have them both here joining us. They are both authors that use MailerLite for their promotion. So I'm happy just to have them talk about how they use the platform, tips that they can share, and also just some case studies and examples so you can see some actual newsletters in action. I want to just say again, the webinar chat, keep an eye on that just for links and things. You won't be able to type in it. Any questions? That'll be the Q&A. My name is Harmony. If you have joined these sessions recently in the last few months, you've probably seen me. I'm a customer education specialist here at MailerLite. So I help with knowledge base, tutorials, all of the education material academy, and then I also host these webinar sessions. And I'm very honored to have our authors here today joining us, as we have Danika Bloom joining us, and I will let her introduce herself as well.
Hi, everybody. I'm Danika Bloom. I am a USA Today bestselling romance author, and I also support new and pre-published romance authors to get their first books published, and I am a big fan of encouraging them all to use MailerLite for all of the things to launch their author careers. So thanks, Harmony. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you, Danika. We're very happy to have you. And Ivy as well. So you notice we don't have the video. Ivy does write anonymously, so I will let her introduce herself as well. We're very excited to have Ivy here with us.
Thanks, Harmony. Yes, so everybody, I'm Ivy Hunt. I'm a USA Today bestselling author of romances as well. I write sports and billionaire rom-coms set in New York City. I currently have 3 books out and my 4th is about to launch. I've been writing for a few years now and have learned so much from other authors, so I'm really looking forward to sharing what I've learned about newsletters with all of you.
Let's go ahead and jump into what we will be talking about today. So going over our agenda, just so everyone knows what to expect out of this session. Initially, we're going to be talking about email marketing when it comes to authors and just getting started with everything. So why an effective email marketing strategy is needed and how to get started. Then we'll go into capturing leads and list building. So we'll talk about different tips to actually grow your list as an author, as well as different lead magnets and list building services, as well as integrations, because MailerLite has a lot of integrations for authors. So this section will be more about how to grow your list using those integrations, those lead magnets, those services, those features. And then the last section, we're going to be talking about author branding. So how to create your brand through your email list and your campaigns, as far as creating content your readers will love and setting your mood as an author when you're sending out your newsletters. And during this section, we're also going to be looking at real newsletter examples from Ivy and Danika, just to get ideas of how our authors are marketing themselves using the platform. And then at the end of this webinar, we'll have a section for Q&A. So as you're asking questions in the Q&A, if our panelists are not able to, if it's for our authors specifically, then we will save those questions for the end. So we'll save the last about 10 to 15 minutes, hopefully, of the webinar for questions. You also, there were people that submitted their questions in advance, which we did have. So we'll be going over some of those as well. For the most part, our authors are going to be driving this presentation. So I will go ahead and just hand the floor over, and we're going to get started talking about email marketing for authors, why it matters.
Great, thanks, Harmony. So yeah, email marketing is huge for authors, and not many realize how important it can be. So I want to run you through a few reasons you don't want to leave it out of your marketing strategy. And first of all, building a loyal reader base. Email allows authors to communicate directly with their audience. They're a huge and powerful tool for nurturing relationships with readers. And unlike other platforms, email provides a direct and personal line of communication. This means you can share exclusive updates, behind the scenes content, and even personal notes directly with your audience. And because your readers have opted in to receive these messages, you're speaking to people who are genuinely interested in what you have to say. Like, this level of engagement is unmatched. So you want to make sure you have it in your author toolkit. Also, email allows you to tailor your communication based on different levels of reader engagement. So whether you use it for welcoming new subscribers or rewarding longtime fans, you can create personalized experiences that strengthen your connection or their connection with your storytelling world. So another reason you want to use email marketing is because you have ownership of your list. So unlike social media platforms or online retailers where your connection to your audience can be interrupted or even severed, your email list remains entirely under your control. If a retailer shuts down or a social media platform blocks your account, you still have direct access to your readers through email. So this ensures your relationship with your audience remains intact, no matter the external factors. Another critical thing is that it gives you freedom from the algorithms. With email, you're in charge of what reaches your readers and when. Another reason to own your list is you have the ability to look at how effective your newsletters are. You can track open rates, click-through rates, other metrics. And so you can figure out what kind of content resonates most with your audience. You can continuously refine and make sure your content is, as engaging as possible.
I will just add, I do like the point about you aren't beholden to social media algorithms. I think that's something that most people don't realize with email list is when you are advertising on social media, you are at the mercy of those algorithms, but the list does bypass that. So I do like that point. I just wanted to echo that.
When writing newsletters, you can establish your author voice and brand. That is huge. So writing a regular newsletter, whether it's like weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, it's more than just keeping your readers informed. This is an opportunity to hone your author voice and allow readers to connect with the person behind the books. This is crucial because it sets the tone for how your readers perceive you, both on and off the page. Readers are often curious about the sources of inspiration behind the stories they enjoy. So by sharing your insights into your creative process, whether it's the inspiration for your latest book or a personal anecdote that influenced your writing, you allow readers to feel more connected to your work. Readers want to get to know us as a person. Sharing aspects of our lives, values, and experiences help build and deepen that connection. Newsletters are also great for relationship building. So once you've established your author voice and brand, your email list becomes huge for building relationships within the author community. Collaborating with other authors benefits both you and your readers because it's an opportunity to provide fresh content. So one of the most effective strategies is cross-promotion. If you team up with fellow authors to promote each other's new releases or sales or events, you're introducing your readers to new books they might love and also expanding your own reach. This approach keeps your content and newsletters fresh and engaging, especially because most authors only publish a few books a year. So sharing content from other authors helps maintain a consistent presence in your readers' inboxes. I'm going to hand this over to Donna.
So I'm going to start by defining something that often gets confused. There are a lot of different words that we use for these things called like a lead magnet, the thing that we use to attract folks onto our lists. I know Tammy Lebrecht, the newsletter ninja, calls them reader cookies. I love that, but it gets a little confusing when we're talking about the two different types I would like to talk to you about today. So we've got the lead magnet versus a reader magnet. If you are pre-published, I want to say it is not too early to start growing your email list. You can build that loyal list before your book even hits the shelves. And one of the most effective ways to do this is by using what we call a lead magnet. And it's essentially a freebie that you offer to potential readers in exchange for their contact information. So for example, you could give away a short story or a novella. You could even give an excerpt from your upcoming book, or a prequel to, if you're writing a series, a prequel to the series. And when your readers download your lead magnet, they're not just getting something for free, they're actually becoming warm prospects, which is different. I'll talk about cold prospects and hot prospects too. But this means they've expressed an interest in what you have to offer. So they're more likely to be engaged when you eventually do release your book. So make sure your lead magnet aligns with your main book's theme and style to create that seamless transition from the free content that gets them on the list and the book that you intend to publish. Now, if you're already published and you're looking to expand your reader base, a great strategy is to use a reader magnet. And a reader magnet differs in that it's the bonus that you give to readers who have read all the way to the end of one of your books. So it could be an exclusive epilogue, an additional chapter, any special content that adds value to their reading experience of that specific story. And the key is to offer this bonus in exchange for their contact information, and you do that at the end of the book. And this is effective because readers who reach out for your reader magnet are already engaged with you as an author. They've already indicated they loved your story. So if they're eager for more, it makes them a hot prospect, meaning they're more likely to be interested in your future releases. If you can, and it allows you to build a list of dedicated fans who are primed to hear about your next project. You can go to the next one. So it is never too early to grow your email list. There's steps that I would recommend. So you create your lead magnet. So short story, novella. If you are in a place where you're almost ready to launch and you don't have time or you can't think of what a short story or novella might be, take an excerpt out of your story that you can, like the first couple of chapters. We'll talk about book funnel and story origin, which are two of the tools you can use. There are promotions that will allow you to use an excerpt. Whatever you do, if it's short story or novella, make sure that it's in the same genre or subgenre if you write in a genre that has many subgenres for the book that you ultimately are going to want to get them to buy. It should feel like a natural extension of the world and the voice that you're presenting in your main work, the one you're going to sell. You distribute your lead magnet. So platforms like BookFunnel and Story Origin are two excellent tools that you can use to distribute your lead magnet. They make it easy to deliver your content to new subscribers and even track how well your lead magnet is doing to attract new readers. It can give you really great information about how engaging your book cover and your blurb are. And that's a whole other strategy, but that is one use of a lead magnet. And then we get to the email. So you set up your welcome sequence, and in MailerLite, you can create a welcome sequence that's triggered automatically when someone signs up for your list. The sequence I would recommend should have 3 to 6 emails that introduce you to your new subscribers and give them a sense of who you are and what they can look forward to in your communications from them. And then engage and build. That's make sure your welcome emails are engaging and make sure they encourage interaction. This is going to help you build a stronger connection with your subscribers. And that also helps keep your list healthy and active when you've got high open rates and high click rates. So by starting early, even if it's like 6 months before or a year before you know you're going to be ready to launch your first book, start early with a lead magnet and you'll be setting the stage for a strong and engaged reader base once your book is ready to be released. So this is just a sample, really quick sample of the types of emails you can include once someone joins your lead magnet. There's going to be a link to download a handbook, and there's a lot more details about what to include, what you could include, and even some sample emails in that a little bit later on. So you really want to reinforce the value of the content that the person is receiving once they've joined your list and set the stage for what's to come in these the welcome sequence. You should include a download link to the lead magnet, a brief reminder of what it is. Sometimes people will go over to BookFunnel, Story Origin, say they want it, and then they won't go back and get the BookFunnel link because it's coming from BookFunnel, not from you. So it's really important that they then get an email directly from you and that you include that same link because folks may not go over to that other BookFunnel one. I think without going, I don't want to, let's see, 16, I think we can talk. So in email 2, I will say, You're setting expectations for the email. Outline the types of emails the subscribers will receive. So for instance, if you're going to be giving them updates on new releases, exclusive content, special offers, you really want to give them an idea of what the value of staying subscribed is and encourage them to engage with your content. By the third email, it's really nice to share what your big why is. Explain why you're passionate about writing and what drives you to create. You can share personal anecdotes, experiences that highlight your commitment to storytelling and help readers connect with you on a bit of a personal level. That's going to foster a stronger connection and make them feel like you're writing to them and not just, generally to the world. Email 4, provide the social links. So encourage your subscribers to connect with you on your social media platforms if you're active over there. That could be the place where you share glimpses into your behind the scenes. If you are active on social media, and I know are not all, I am not myself, but if you are, that can really help deepen that relationship with your reader. By email 5, it's really nice to conduct a reader interest survey, something really, really short, something that will get their preferences that might help you tailor your content and offers to them. So it could be a brief poll, and MailerLite has got these really fabulous, easy to embed and nice clean polls that you could do. Basically, what's your favorite genre, or what's your favorite something related to the books that you're writing? The reason you want to do this is you get a little bit of information about them, but you're also getting them to click. So we want to train our readers to click because ultimately, once we're sending them the emails that have got our books in them or books from our friends, we want them to know it is safe to click on our emails. And then email 6, if you happen to have a free book to thank them for their support and sticking with you, it's a really wonderful way to keep those new readers to your list engaged. And then once you've gone through that whole sequence, 3 to 6, you choose the ones you like, then you move them into what would be your general email sequence, and they start to get all of the weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly emails that you send to everyone on your list. Now, growing your list with a reader magnet, or a reader magnet, I should say, is a little bit different. So even if you've published a book already, it's not too late to start building and nurturing your email list with a reader magnet. It may mean that you have to go into the book that you have published. Well, in fact, it will, if you haven't already done this, books that you have published, and add this to the very end of, and in my case, and they lived happily ever after. And then you have the opportunity to say, if you would like to stick with this story and these characters a little bit longer, putting a link to your reader magnet. So that's going to be an epilogue or an additional chapter from the book. It has to be really tied to the story they've just finished for it to be of value. And I recommend that you host this content on a secret page on your website where your readers can access it once they've finished the book. And there are reasons for that. You could absolutely use BookFunnel to deliver it, or Story Origin, but getting folks onto your website is something that helps your website. It also, if you ever decide that you're going to use meta ads and you've pixeled it, you now have data about your readers, which is going to be really valuable to you when you're advertising. Then you're going to set up a landing page in MailerLite to promote the bonus content. And they're super easy in MailerLite. The page just has to have like a picture of the book cover and a really brief, like one sentence. This is what you're going to get if you join my list. You're going to get one more scene with these characters. Once your landing page is ready, then, well, actually, you should do this first so that when your landing page is ready, you're going to have a nurture sequence in MailerLite. And it's another series of automated emails, and it's designed, like with your lead magnet, to engage your readers further. And finally, let's see, again, I would say 3 to 6 emails. That is where we are on that. So over to the next one, Harmony. All right, and confirm your email. Okay, I didn't mention this on the last one. I recommend, and all the folks who I follow and really respect, David Gaughran, for instance, highly recommends having a double opt-in so that people have to click twice. Yes, I really do want to receive this. The reason is you don't want folks on your list who, number one, might forget and mark you as spam, and number two, never open your emails, because then you're just building a list of people who aren't going to engage, and that's not really the point. So this will give you a better, cleaner, more engaged list if you use the double opt-in. They will get a verification email that they need to confirm, and that also will help filter out invalid or invalid emails. For instance, if someone signs up using a bogus email, they don't get the content, so it protects you from bots and such. Then you're going to have your success landing page. So once they've joined, you will acknowledge the subscriber's successful sign up and reinforce your brand. Really important in MailerLite, when you're setting up your page, you've got two options. You've got the page, and then there's a little button that says like thank you page or landing page. Make sure you go over and click it. Otherwise, you just have the MailerLite branding, which is fine. But what you really want to do is take this opportunity to be reinforcing your brand with your tagline, your image, an image of the hero or heroine, or something from the story of your book. It just feels like a more professional kind of experience for them. The third thing you do is you deliver your reader magnet. So now we're on email 1, and you're actually delivering the reader magnet, sending an email containing the link to the secret page, if that's the approach you use, or the service like BookFunnel or Story Origin, and that fulfills the promise. If that's all you want to do, that's fine. You can then move them over to your general email sequence, but I would recommend that you do a few more emails. The next one would be to deepen the relationship, just like in the lead magnet. Tell them what your big why is, the inspiration, perhaps behind that specific story that they've just read and finished and loved. So it'll help them connect on a more emotional level and foster a stronger bond with your work and with you. You can introduce them to another book. So if you write in series, the next email is a great place for you to say, hey, there's another book in this series. Why don't you go and check that one out? This character also appears in that book, and you get to follow their story a little bit more. That's where you would have a link to your purchase page for another book in the series. And then if you want, you can offer them a free book, either your own if you have a perma free, which could even be your lead magnet, or you could be working with another author. If another author writes in the same genre or subgenre as you, and say, hey, if you loved this story about my firefighter romance, this author also writes firefighter romance and has a book you might like. You're providing value to them. It may not be benefiting you specifically in that moment, except that now they're like, oh, I'm going to be getting valuable stuff from Danika. And also, it's really great for me in my relationship building with the person I share. So then you roll them into your general email sequence. Up to the next. And the last one is using a list builder service. And there are some really great list builder services that you can use either pre-published or once you've published. Choosing the right one is really crucial, though. There are reputable options. Prolific Works, Book Sweeps, Authors XP have positive track records and will deliver on their promises. You can get hundreds, sometimes like 500 or 600 emails onto your list. But I would really recommend talking to other authors who write in your specific subgenre to see which ones work best for them, because each of these kind of have different audiences. You pay to join, somewhere between $50 to $200. They will be cold subscribers, just so you know, because they're entering a contest. So they're not going to be as valuable necessarily out of the gate as your lead magnet or your reader magnet folks, but that doesn't mean that they are not valuable, because if you do this properly, you'll be nurturing them and making yourself valuable. So you're sharing the giveaway, all the participants share it, which means you're getting your book in front of other authors who write in your subgenre, which is great. once you have your list from the service provider, you download a CSV, and MailerLite makes it really easy, literally, like upload CSV, you say email, first name, and they are there. You add them to a group, which is named, I would really recommend name it whatever the service was that you used to build the promo plus a date, so that you can keep track of unsubscribes and engagement and just see, did that one work for me? Or maybe I should try another promo service in future. And also have a welcome sequence automation in place. You can pick from your lead magnet, but make sure you have that. You are going to stand head and shoulders over other people in those promos. I've been in several, and it's amazing how few authors actually will email those new people on their list within the first week or so to say, hey, you didn't win the prize, but I'm so glad you're here. And that would be a great opportunity to offer them your free book, your lead magnet. All right, next one, and then it's back over to Ivy. So if you would like a lot more detail, I have a 36-page workbook all about this kind of stuff to help you create a strong email strategy. I adapted it from a course that I delivered earlier this year. The examples in this handout are romance related, so I apologize that they're all lovey-dovey, but I think they're relevant to all fiction writers and many nonfiction writers too. So if you use the Genius link, make sure you do the capital ML, because that matters. And if not, you've got the QR code. And if you aren't in a place where you can download that right now, Harmony and MailerLite are going to send you a replay of this with a PDF version of this file. So that is it for me for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Danika. I will also say, yes, we are going to send out this PDF in the follow-up email. So you can scan the QR code now to get it right away. But we will send out the workbook with the follow-up email as well. So everyone will receive that. So we already, Danika did go over some of the integrations for authors as far as just mentioning what authors can use to build their list. So now I'm going to go over how those integrations connect with MailerLite and which ones that we connect with. So we have a lot of great resources when it comes to plugins and integrations for authors. So we did talk about Prolific Works. I know I heard Danika talking about how to use Prolific Works as one of the ways to build your list. It's formerly InstaFreebie, if you've heard of InstaFreebie, now Prolific Works. Basically, it allows authors and publishers to distribute free ebooks to their readers, used for book promotions. And when you connect it to MailerLite, it means that every reader that downloads your material will be added to your list in MailerLite. So also, if you create a giveaway as well in Prolific Works, those subscribers are added to a group in MailerLite. So basically, when you are working in Prolific Works for downloads and giveaways, all of those contacts will be added to MailerLite with the integration. And we also have BookFunnel. I heard this one being mentioned as well, and I believe this one is very widely used with authors. I see this one come up a lot, and this is one of our popular integrations for authors as well. So for anyone that doesn't know, BookFunnel, online platform for distributing reader magnets or ebooks. So novel series, anything you're writing, it's another distribution platform. And the integration works very similarly to the Prolific Works one. All of these integrations work similarly in that whatever you are doing in the app to collect subscribers, whether that's downloads, giveaways, whatever, those contacts are then added over to MailerLite. So the same thing, anyone who downloads your ebook or lead magnet is added to MailerLite as well. Okay, and we also have Book Cave. This was one of the ones that I haven't heard of as much, so it might not be as popular as Prolific Works or Story Origin. Still a very good resource for authors if you have not heard of it. This one also allows you to provide ebooks for free or a discounted price from retailers. So if you are, when you're advertising and selling your ebooks and you're doing discounts, Book Cave is a good resource. Works very similarly to the other two integrations. When you integrate them both, anyone that downloads those ebooks will be added to MailerLite. So these are all mainly different distribution platforms for authors to grow their list by sending out ebooks, all of those things. And the integration just allows you to connect the platform so that everything is then brought over to MailerLite and you don't have to do anything manually. And MailerLite can be that database as well for all of your contacts that were brought over. And the nice thing is you can create different groups. So while all of these subscribers will be added to your general mailing list in MailerLite, you also always have the option to add them to a specific group. Whenever you connect these integrations, it will always ask you which group you want to send the subscribers to in MailerLite. So you can always create a specific group for, let's say, Book Cave, so that you know all of the subscribers coming from Book Cave specifically. And I think this is one of the last but not least is Story Origin. So I heard this one being talked about as well. Another platform, it's where authors can find reviewers, grow their mailing list through landing pages, and increase sales through newsletter swaps and group promotions. So another platform used to promote your books, your offers, your stories that are coming out, everything. And again, the integration works very similarly, where if you integrate MailerLite with Story Origin, those new contacts will automatically be synced to your MailerLite subscriber list. Okay, so all of these are really great resources for authors. You might already be using them. And this is to let you know that you can connect all of these to MailerLite. And thank you, our panelists have dropped in all of the links. So if you check the webinar chat, you can see the links for our integrations for everything I just mentioned. So the direct link to our plugin MailerLite with these platforms. Very easy to connect. We have some guides depending on which ones you are going through, but these are pretty easy to follow and pretty easy to connect. So hopefully these will help as far as resources. So those are all of our integrations. And then I'm going to pass it again over to our authors where we're going to talk about branding.
What is author branding? So it involves creating a cohesive and recognizable identity that resonates with your readers. So thinking, coming from the romance genre, it's really clear, I think you can imagine. My branding is I write steamy. If someone writes closed door cozies, you can imagine that the branding is going to be different in my emails. My images will be different. My headers might be different as well. The types of GIFs I might use. So branding is kind of shaping how your brand comes across in email and communicating that style in your content. How often you email is definitely part of your branding. The frequency of your emails contributes to establishing expectations with your readers. One thing I want to say is, so often readers, or not readers, authors will say, like, I am inundated with emails. I'm not gonna bother my readers by sending them more than once a month. And I just want to say with love that I would invite you to reconsider. We are not our readers. We are not the target audience. Once a week is typically not too much. I have not seen, when I send once a week, not seen a drop off in people saying, oh my gosh, you write too often. People can, they can not read it, or they can scan, or they can delete. Twice a month, definitely great. Once a month is hard, particularly if you're at the list building stage where you're going to be joining a promotion on Story Origin or BookFunnel, or perhaps one of the others that Harmony mentioned that I'm not familiar with, because you need to be sharing enough to get clicks to make your reputation good over there. So I would just invite you to put aside your own feelings about how often, and your brand can be one that emails once a week, and like a short email, but something that is interesting. The tone and content of your emails is basically, it's the style that you write in. If you write dark suspense, then it's kind of nice to have that kind of dark suspense tone in your emails. So readers are continually feeling this is like a package. When I read this person's writing, I know what I'm going to get. I write rom-com. I keep my stories, my emails pretty light and silly. So you want to be heartfelt. If you're a Colleen Hoover, you're going to be writing about things that are close to the heart. Aligning that tone of your writing with your emails is really great for your brand. The graphics that you use, are you someone who's going to be using emojis? Are you going to be using GIFs? There are no right or wrong answers. There's only what's right for you, your author brand, and the readers who you are attracting and nurturing a relationship with. So don't feel like if you see a whole lot of people doing one thing that you should be jumping on that as well. Think about who you are and what you want your readers to be concluding about you as an author. And then the kinds of promos you share with other authors. This again, are you the kind of author who will only be writing about yourself and including your own work, or do you want to be that kind of author who is sharing other people's work? There is no right or wrong answer to any of these things, but being consistent and knowing what it is and who you are in your email to align with your brand is really important. And it'll also be linked to, you know, the way your website is designed and the way you communicate on your website. So overall, I mean, really short, because this is not my area of expertise. Ivy's going to help out a lot here. Effective branding in email marketing is basically just being consistent in how you communicate and present yourself, and ensuring that your emails reinforce your identity and connect your readers to the type of writing, work, tone, style, energy that you are going to be sending them to when they find your books.
So I went through and found a few examples, case studies for how authors can use newsletters. These include examples both Danika and I have sent out, and a few others from authors we think have done great jobs. This is not a full list. There are so many different ways authors can use them, but here are a few reasons of why and how you can use your newsletters. So, you know, this is an opportunity to build authentic relationships. So share personal experiences your readers can relate to. Your newsletters are where you showcase your unique voice. Whether you're funny or heartfelt or inspiring, let your personality shine through. This kind of touches on what Danika said earlier. You want to keep your readers engaged and reinforce your brand. Like generally, you want to keep the tone of your newsletters in the genre that you write in. Finally, invite interaction. Encourage your readers to reply, ask questions, or share their own stories. In this particular example, which is one of my own newsletters, I shared thoughts about Meet Cutes today and invited my readers to respond, sharing how they met their significant others. People were so enthusiastic about sharing their stories. I made a big giant red button so people knew to click and send me a response. Drive early sales. So, you know, you can offer your most engaged readers exclusive sneak peeks of an upcoming release, build excitement, make them feel special, share tidbits from your stories, like the first chapter or an excerpt to get them invested early. Really important thing to do, include direct links to pre-order. Make it easy for them to be among the first to get your book. These are valuable people. All right. We go to the next.
Just so we can see this one a little bit more closer. We have the pre-order link here.
Yeah, this one, she includes her first chapter.
Let's see. More pre-order links here. Very nice.
Release day comes around. So announce your new release, right? You want to share the news with the world. Start your announcement with a celebratory message. Convey your excitement, but also it allows authors to create a sense of urgency and encourages your readers to join in the celebration. So in this particular example, you'll see the author share a personal message of her own. When Harmony brings up the live example, you'll see how she did that. In this particular example, the book she's featuring was released only on Amazon and KU. But if you're making your book available on other platforms, include direct links to purchase these books. This is crucial because it makes buying your book effortless. You don't want them going and hunting for your story, because the easier you make it for your readers to take action, the more likely they are to do so. So make sure you include your strong call to actions and make sure that they have the opportunity to share their excitement with other people.
I just want to say, I think this is great too. Some of the early reviews, I think this is really nice. It kind of builds that excitement. I've seen this here and I'm thinking that's a nice thing to add to this pre-order email.
One thing that I found really valuable, and it gave a nice little bump here, during your launch sequence, you may be sending out, instead of 1 email a week, you may be sending even up to 4 or 5 emails. Once my most recent novel published, I sent out a post-launch email, which talked a little bit about the reviews that were coming in, and it also provided a request to the folks who I know are reading my books, because this was sent to my warm and my hot list, and asking them to kind of tickle the bots, like go and do something. And you'll see, well, on the other slide, my open rate on that email and my click-through rate were really, really high. So the reason I shared that was, don't be afraid to be sending a lot of emails when you launch. You know, that email probably came, and it was probably the 5th email in 7 days. People weren't unsubscribing. They opened it at like 69% open rate on that and an 8.5 click-through rate. Those are really high numbers. So I just shared that because I want you to know we are not our readers. Our readers are excited for us, even if we're like, oh my gosh, another email. So that is why I wanted to share that one.
So outside of the release cycle, you want to promote your own backlist. This is a smart strategy to keep readers engaged and excited about your work. Readers love getting discounted or free books, so offering deals can significantly boost interest in your older titles. Not only does this drive sales, but it keeps your readers opening your emails, knowing that there's always a chance of a great deal. Featuring and discounting books earlier in a series is especially effective when you have an upcoming release. It's a great way to build momentum and encourage readers to catch up on previous books before diving into the new one. This strategy not only increases sales, but heightens anticipation for your upcoming release. In this example, I made one of my books free. It wasn't part of a release cycle, but it had been a while since I had sent my newsletter anything. And so I wanted to remind them that I was here and say, hey, if you haven't read this, pick it up, it's free. Finally, share engaging content beyond your own, right? Sharing content that's not yours keeps your newsletter engaging. Readers trust your book recommendations, so feel free to promote books from other authors that you enjoy and in your genre. Promoting fellow authors is not only a great way to help them, but in the future they might be willing to share your own books in sales and new releases. Offering free books, whether your own or through recommendations, can significantly boost your click rates. So freebies attract attention and make your emails something readers look forward to. So here you see the author promote her own book, but if you scroll down, she is promoting one of the other authors who writes like her. And then you've probably seen bits of these in the other examples I've shown. Most authors do a combination of things. Many authors, even if they're writing emails to promote their own stories, are usually sharing books from other authors. And these might be based on swaps or group promotions they have joined using one of the integrated services like Story Origin and BookFunnel. Or this could be a private exchange you might make or set up with an author you actually know and collaborate with.
You can see all of these upcoming ones as well.
Right. So, I mean, those were examples. There are tons of other ways to use your newsletters, but, I hope that gave you a little bit of a sampling.
And I have more examples as well in the handout. So Ivy touched on 5 or 6 different ways you can use your newsletter. I think there are about 13 in the handout because we just had more time there. And I also provided a few more samples of ways that folks are using them well, so that you can get some ideas. And as the Austin Kleon says, steal like an artist.
Amazing. Thank you both so much. Very valuable information. And this is our chance to answer some questions. So we had some questions that we received beforehand when people registered, and then we had some that came in through the chat. One question that I can see was answered, but I do want to get our author's opinion on this as well, because Danika, I know we did kind of go over this. A lot of authors are using Substack or wondering what to use Substack for versus what to use MailerLite for. And I see a question here. Basically, somebody said, I've been banging my head against a metaphorical wall, on the fence about creating a newsletter based around my fiction work, but can't decide between creating a fiction newsletter on Substack, where I already have a nonfiction newsletter, or using a service like MailerLite, which is commonly recommended among indie authors for more business-like features. So Substack, MailerLite, what are your thoughts on that process?
My 2 cents. So they are not the same. It's kind of like cake and pie. You can use both, and I would suggest that you might want to use both. Substack is fantastic. It's more like a blog, and it does distribute like an email service would to all of the people who subscribe. The place that it's missing is that it doesn't have automations. And so unless you are, it's harder to nurture your folks. It's harder to take your readers and put them into buckets. And the buckets that I'm most concerned about are when a person finishes, it's those reader magnets. When a person finishes the first book in my series, I want to nurture them and send them emails to get them to my next book and my next book and my next book. So Substack, love it for that, for the you could serialize over there, but I also think MailerLite has a role, personal opinion. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you. I did just add a link to our resource for how to create workflows. In case anyone hasn't created an automation yet or wants to see how they work, that is how they work in MailerLite. Okay, so a couple other questions that were asked during this session that I can see. This is a good one. So somebody asked, what if your mailing list is composed of a multitude of people? So some people who use my books for gaming, some for tarot reading, and those for fantasy stories. Should there be 3 to 6 mailing lists for different categories of people? And I think they said 3 to 6 emails for the reader magnet. So basically, if you have different types of audiences, so some that are using your books, like you said, for gaming, some for reading, some for fantasy, how when it comes to segmenting and targeting these different audiences.
Ivy, do you want me to take that or do you want it?
Why don't you talk about it?
Okay, so I would say, yes, you're going to want different groups for each of those so that you will want to segment. And I apologize, I'm not great with keeping track of what language MailerLite uses, but for instance, here you can actually see it live working. If you download that handout that I've got, you'll see on the sheet there's a little checkbox. I write romance, I write women's fiction, or I do not write romance. That is, when you check that box, it's going to put you in a specific group. And the group that you get put in is going to trigger a specific automation. So, because I don't want to be talking romance to non-romance readers. So that is one way I would really recommend if you want them to have a good experience with you. You don't want your fantasy readers to be getting the gaming stuff. You just set up those folks, you import them into their own groups, and then they each have their own welcome automation. The beauty with MailerLite is you can have as many automations as you want, I think. I have not hit a limit and I have many. So definitely do it. Now, sorry, and Doug, to say, you can reuse some emails. Like I've been doing this long enough that I have some emails that get really great open and click rates. They get really great engagement, and I'll just adjust it and use it as one of the emails in each of the different sequences. So it's not to say you can't have repeat email, but make sure it's targeted to those folks. So I would say that's a strong yes from my point of view.
I will also add, this might be slightly an advanced feature, but we do have dynamic blocks in MailerLite, which means you can send the same email to a group of people, but depending on certain aspects about them, they will see different content in that email. So I will go ahead and drop a link how to work with that, but dynamic content is a kind of an advanced way to do exactly what we just talked about as well. And I see that Doug had another question here, which I will read. For my books, new author, I have short story books that I'm planning to sell at shows. I have provided one of those short stories on my website. Should I also provide that short story as a lead magnet PDF to get more people on my mailing list? Do I need to remove the free short story from my website and put part of it as a landing page? So I think how to manage these freebies and these free chapters. If you already have the free chapter on your website, do you also want to send it out in your newsletter as a lead magnet? Kind of seeing how to work with this, how to work with that chapter, how to use that chapter to its fullest.
Doug, I don't think you need to remove the free short story from your website. I think what you should be doing on your website, though, is using a sign-up form. So, maybe you put the first couple chapters and say, do you want to read the rest of this story? Get on my list. If you don't want to do that, you leave it up as a freebie. You risk that person just reading it and then going away and forgetting about you. But there's no reason why you can't also use it as a lead magnet. Nobody's going to get upset. I have lead magnets that are available wide on all retailers as free books as well. So if people are over on Barnes and Noble, they can get the book for free. I don't get their email address, but if they come to me through a different place, either way, we're serving the purpose of getting our books in front of readers. And I think that's actually the point of it all. So meet them where they are. Keep doing what you're doing. It sounds really strategic.
This next question, I think this is in response to the email that Ivy showed that she sent. Do you reply to people's email responses, as in like their meet cute? What if a lot of people respond and you are inundated? Do you answer their responses on social media? So when you're asking these questions, are you answering them? Are you interacting? Or how does that work, maybe?
Well, I try and respond to every email that I get. I mean, I don't get thousands and thousands of responses. So I am able to do that. I don't necessarily respond immediately, but I do try and respond to everybody and personalize it slightly. Very often the content of my response is something I can copy and paste, but sometimes I do want to engage with the reader, and sometimes that conversation takes a life of its own. I think the more you can engage with your readers, the better. And again, it's not going to be possible for every author. There's a lot that is going out there, but I think that whenever you can, go ahead. I don't personally respond on social media, but I think other authors do, especially if it's a response that they get over and over again. I have seen authors do that. It's not something I personally do.
Thank you. Okay. Someone else, Barbara, asks, how can I use MailerLite to promote a book I published 2 years ago? It's a romantic suspense that teaches the readers about human trafficking. I feel like whoever wants to answer this one, there's lots of ways to use MailerLite to promote books, but one that was published 2 years ago, so not one that is being, so no pre-orders, nothing like that. How would you promote a book that's already been out?
I can make this. So, always promote your backlist, right? If you have a book that came out a couple of years ago and you have an active list, there's no reason you can't promote it to your readers again. I mean, I wouldn't do it every single week, but if you can tie it to an event that's going on today, a specific movie that came out, something that's relevant to your book, great. Another way to get it out there is, again, using services like BookFunnel and Story Origin, where you can have other authors promoting the books for you. There are so many ways of getting this out there, but there's no reason you can't use your list and these third parties to promote older content.
If it's already available for sale, then getting the folks onto your list is going to mean having either a prequel or even a sample chapter. When I first launched my very first romance novel, nobody told me about list building. I was green. And then I realized, holy cow, I need to get this done. And I didn't have anything that I could use to engage people to get them onto my list. So I just did the first 3 chapters of the novels, each of the novels that I had just published. And it worked like a hot damn. It got those people onto the list. So the one trick, if your book is in Kindle Unlimited, if it's in KU, make sure you go to the look inside on KU on Amazon, see where the read inside ends, and do not do one word further, because that is the amount that you're allowed to give away for free. And if you get caught giving away more than that, then Amazon can get cranky. So that's just a little tip.
And speaking of Amazon, I see another question here about that. And we are kind of reaching the end of the webinar time, but we'll answer all the questions. So anyone that wants to stick around to hear the answers to the questions, feel free. We're going to just go ahead and answer the ones that came in. So somebody else asked, how can authors who self-publish with Amazon KDP take advantage of MailerLite?
I don't know if I have anything specific to say, because I think that it doesn't really matter what the retailer you're using is. Correct me if you have a different experience. I think that if you self-publish, you want to grow your list as best you can using these third parties that Harmony and Danika spoke about are great ways of doing that. And I mean, if you use these third parties, there are very many promotions that are tailored specifically to audiences that only buy on Amazon or only are part of Kindle Unlimited. And as they both said earlier, there are really tight integrations with MailerLite. So I guess that's one place where you can use the connection between Amazon and MailerLite. But I don't think that it's really specific to any particular retailer.
I agree.
Yeah, I would also add that the same thing. I think any author who is self-publishing can use MailerLite for promoting their books, whether they're with Amazon or another retailer. Because yeah, Amazon, again, same with the other like prolific works, it's a platform used to promote the books themselves, but as far as automations go and newsletters, that's where you have MailerLite as the tool for that. So not just promoting the book, but also communicating with your audience. I think this is a good question. How does genre affect your marketing tactics, if at all? And Danika, I know we had a little bit of discussion about this because romance authors might use different marketing tactics than an author that is promoting books for gaming. So kind of I have my own answer for that as far as what MailerLite allows, I guess, content wise. So there is a bit of restriction there, but how do you feel that genre would affect marketing tactics?
And I think that you're going to answer the question, because as a romance author who writes steamy, which just means open door, we have to be careful sometimes about the tools that we use, because if, for instance, I were to put an excerpt from my novel into, I'm not going to name any of them, but into another service provider that allows me to share content with my subscribers, I can be flagged and I can have that shut down. So it's important as a steamy romance author to understand what the limitations are, what the what is it, the POP, the terms of use that we're allowed. And I want to defer over to Harmony. So far, I have never run into trouble, but I also am aware that you want to write within the bounds and what your people are expecting. So erotica writers, you've got a hard road ahead of you. You do, because your readers want one thing and the service providers are going to say, there might be people who might not want to see that on your list. So Harmony, I'm going to give that to you.
Yeah, right. So I did just drop in a link. We have an article that goes over what content is allowed. So we have our terms of use, which is, a very long document, but we also just have this article that very simply explains what type of content is not allowed in MailerLite. And so basically you are allowed to promote your genre, your book, however you want, as long as it does not include these things. So the first one being pornography. And I mean, when it comes to romance authors, they're not sending pornography. It might be a steamy book cover or a shirtless man, but it's not a porn scene. So, as long as it's not graphic in that sense, it's okay. It's really just what you're showing. And then, I won't go through all of these, but yeah, so content related to like promotional gambling, affiliate marketing. So affiliate marketing is one of those things where it's a little bit of a gray area. We don't necessarily allow people to send newsletters that is completely based on affiliate marketing. So if affiliate marketing is the full business and that is what the newsletter is about, that would go against our terms of use. But let's say you're an author and you have an affiliate link for a specific website or a specific download or something, and it's an affiliate link. That is okay because your brand and your newsletter is not about affiliate marketing. You are an author that has an affiliate link for something, so that is okay there. Obviously, illegal goods or services, it's one. I think themes of a book are one thing, but as long as you're not trying to promote the sale of certain things, so yeah, it is difficult. I could see that, but I think for the most part, when it comes to marketing your books, there's a lot of room. It's just, yeah, have a look at our content that isn't allowed, and if it is against it, then it will be flagged. Otherwise, it'll be fine.
I just want to answer Nita's question here. With, you've just said we can use affiliate links to products. You cannot put affiliate links to Amazon. That is part of Amazon's terms of service, that they do not allow emails. So you can put your affiliate links, your affiliate links on your website, or if you want to be doing affiliate links in your emails specifically to Amazon, you have to use an intermediary like Genius Links or Books to Read or one of those universal book link services, but you can't put it directly into your email. If you get caught, they will take it away from you.
Yeah, as a thriller author, I could link to a writing conference. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. When it comes to promoting other authors, events, affiliates, yeah, it really is okay. Like I said, when the reason that we have affiliate marketing as something that we do not allow in MailerLite is because, as I mentioned, if the whole business is based on affiliate marketing, because those are businesses that are just based on affiliate links, and we don't necessarily allow those. So that's the main difference. But if, like I said, if your main brand, your main business is author, you're selling your books, you're selling your brand, that's a different thing. It's not solely based on affiliate marketing. You can include links that help your audience, that help you connect with your readers. So yes, writing conference, as long as there's nothing against our terms of use, perfectly fine. All right, I think that's mainly it. As far as the questions that came in beforehand, I kind of went through and I think we've gone over most things, honestly. Unless anyone has any other last questions, I think we can kind of just give our closing thank yous and closing statements. So yeah, I just want to say thank you both, for Danika and Ivy, for joining us. This has been really helpful, and I hope that we can hold more sessions like this for authors, because we love our authors at MailerLite. We have a lot of resources for them. So yeah, I just want to thank you both for taking your time today, joining us, and just offering your tips. It's been very helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Harmony. And also thank you, MailerLite, for making it easy for authors to use the service and affordable for when we're starting. So thank you.
Thank you very much. This has been great, and MailerLite has been a great product to use. So